And welcome along to the TRL Footy Show on Power TV, live from the Toowoomba Sports Club for Art by Leonardo's in Prescott Street. Normally, of course, my cohort next to me is Obi, but unfortunately Obi's unable to make it. But we do have Paul Reedy, the Deputy Chair of the Mustangs, with us today. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Jeff. Someone a bit better looking than Obi, I hope, but Obi's not here to defend himself. Yeah, welcome along. Going to be a great TRL Footy Show, and sadly we're missing Obi today due to the passing of his father, John O'Brien, an absolute stalwart and a legend of Gatton down there as well. I'm sure the whole town will be in mourning and missing him. And Obi, you and your family, our deepest sympathies on the passing of your father, John.
Absolutely. That goes from all of us at Power FM and Power TV as well. Now, who's on our panel today, Paul?
Well, joining us as always, Justin McKellar, NRL player and Valley's local legend. And he's been around the Toowoomba Rugby League, him and his family, for a long time. So Mac is back, and of course we're going to get hopefully joined by Mark Swan.
Yes,
from Gatton as well. So that'll be great to see him up here and get his thoughts on the upcoming season, particularly where they feel Gatton's going to go. Yep,
the footy well and truly back last weekend. Round one, of course, the TRL will have a look at those games and then preview what's happening in round two. Very exciting as we build up to the Titans and the Dragons at Clyde Berghofer Stadium.
Yeah, exactly right. What an historic event. Toowoomba's going to see it this Sunday, 3 o'clock, kick-off between the Gold Coast Titans and the St George Dragons. They're going to be here playing at Clyde Berghofer Stadium, the old athletic oval, as still a lot of people call it, and ticket sales are really starting to pick up now, so we're looking forward to getting a bumper crowd. We need a full house up there, Jeff,
yes, absolutely,
to make sure that we can show them the thirst for rugby league here in Toowoomba, and look forward to getting more fixture matches. But to get a fixture match and not just a trial, the trials are fantastic for Toowoomba, but a full-on fixture match will really showcase Toowoomba to the rest of the country through Channel 9. It's going to be a live game, but don't miss out. Get up there and be part of history and see the first NRL fixture match between Titans and St George up at Clyde Berghofer Stadium.
All right, we'll take our first break, and then Justin will join you for the panel to review what happened last week in the TRL. This is the TRL Footy Show, live and free on Power TV Australia.
Looking for exposure for your business or event? Take your business, community event, training seminar, sports fixture, function, concert or exhibition to the world with Power TV Australia and Power FM's unique live outside simulcasts. We can turn your next local event into a worldwide sensation with stunning live pictures, interviews, graphics and live action replays for a fraction of the usual cost. From a festival or sports fixtures to a corporate or charity event, Power TV Australia and Power FM can take your message live to our local and national viewers and listeners. Invite the world to your party by contacting Barry today on 0431 390 920 or email programming@powertvaustralia.com for a quote.
Art by Leonardo's has moved to the Toowoomba Homemaker Centre. Sit down with a coffee and our friendly, experienced staff can help you choose the perfect custom frame to suit your artwork and budget. Plus, all framing is done on site. Come and visit us at our new showroom.
Too much debt? Fixed. Too much stress? Fixed. Too many hassles? Fixed. Central Liaison has helped thousands of Australians with too much debt. You have options, so call today on 0409 344 070.
Hi, this is Sarah and Bron looking after our feet at Hip Pocket Toowoomba.
Lace up, zip side, pull on, men's, women's, kids, healthcare and construction.
Get fitted for your shoes and check out our range of work socks.
At Hip Pocket, we rock it.
Councillors, I'll declare the meeting open. Thank you very much for your attendance. Welcome to our staff.
And welcome back to the TRL Footy Show, live and free on Power TV. thanks to Art by Leonardo's. We're joined by Justin Murphy, who answers to a couple of different names these days.
Sorry, Murph.
No, lots of different names. No, that's no problem. It's always great to be here, and another big week, round 2 of the TRL, and first ever NRL game in Toowoomba. So
absolutely,
very
looking forward to it. Yeah. Now, the Mustangs, they had a bye last week.
Yeah, look, much needed bye, I'd suggest. We played down in Victoria. One of the hardest road trips you've got to go on is Victoria, and when you get to Melbourne, it's another 2-hour journey out to the stadium. So some of the boys were up at 3:30 that morning to play a 4 o'clock game that afternoon. And look, the under-18s went really well. 22 all draw. Had it in the bag, ready to go, and with a minute to go, we let in a try to give away half the points. So they ended up with a draw. But the 18s are a particularly good side. They won it last year, and looking forward to them continuing on. The 20s had to play a little bit later on. Very big, strong Melbourne Storm side. We didn't match it with them. We tried to play the tough game up the middle, and the Mustangs, we sort of... Eugene during the week has spent a lot of time with the boys on defence, but he spent a lot of time with them trying to get them to understand where they need to match up, and if they're not there, how to change their game pattern on the run. So you'll see a much different under-20 side this weekend, and how fantastic is that going to be? We're playing a curtain raiser for the Titans St George game, and we're playing against our arch rivals right back to the Blimber Cup days, the Ipswich Jets. Murph, you would have played against a few Ipswich sides in your rep career coming through the juniors?
Yeah, definitely. It's always a great rivalry with Ipswich. They're our neighbours, and like you said, the Blimber Cup days, there's a lot of history in those games as well. But playing Ipswich before this game, I think our boys, it's a great opportunity this weekend for them, isn't it?
Yes, exactly right. The 18s for Ipswich are coming off a win from last week, and their under-20s suffered a loss. So both the under-20 sides for us and Ipswich Jets will be looking forward to getting their first win on the board and getting some points, and it'll be a good, tough contest. Ipswich always come up here fired up and ready to go, and you'd see a lot of different players in the Ipswich Jets and some good players to come through them too.
Definitely, and I think the clashes with these two in the recent couple of years in the 20s has definitely been very close, hasn't it? So there's been some really good encounters with those two teams.
Yeah, and in the past they've had a sprinkling of Toowoomba boys down there, and it'll be the same this weekend with Denzel Burns probably likely to take his spot for the under-20s Ipswich Jets. He's obviously been in the Q Cup side, so if he doesn't make the Q Cup side this week, we'll be expecting to see him on Sunday. Hopefully he'll keep his position in the Q Cup. He's been playing particularly well with them throughout the trials. But look, a couple of boys to keep an eye out there for us in the under-18s. Luke Maiden, you would have got a little bit of a look at him.
I watched him on Sunday at Valleys for South, and he was really good. He's a front rower, he's got a lot of skill, vision, he can play the game, definitely.
Yeah, and last game, Cole Peterson scored a couple of tries for the under-18s. He's got a little bit of experience, so they'll be looking forward to him out there as well. So there's a lot of good footballers in that under-18s Mustang side, and a couple in the under-20s that'll be looking to get out there. Michael Nazary, our front rower, he'll be keen to get a hold of the Ipswich Jets. He knows a couple of them, so he'll be looking forward to getting in there. Wally Pegler, you'd know a little bit about him from Valleys throughout the time. He's been playing with the Mustangs under-20s last year. I'm looking forward to seeing him this weekend out on the oval there as a curtain raiser. I think he'll go well.
Yeah, definitely. He's had a bit of experience there now. He's really matured as a player, Wally, as well. And I think he'll definitely be one of the guys that will be out to try and impress this week and do his best for the team and himself as well.
And two of the guys in the back line, Jacob Leach and Tui, they both played very well in the game against Victoria, but they also played particularly well in that trial when we did play Ipswich earlier in the year. So they'll be looking to get out and put a few tries on the board, hopefully, and give the under-20 Mustangs their first win of the season.
First win in front of a big local crowd here. It's a great occasion for these kids, and it is a bit of a shame that Denzel's not playing for the Toowoomba side, but I think that's what happens. I remember when I was younger, we played against Toowoomba, and it didn't feel right playing against Toowoomba because it was my hometown, so I didn't enjoy it really much.
Yeah, but we all love the Clydeberg Stadium, Athletic Oval. It's a magnificent stadium, and it's in fantastic look at the moment, isn't it? The field, I've never seen the field look as good as that ever. How about you?
No, it is. It's a home of rugby league in Toowoomba, and it is every time you go there. It's great to go there, and the history of the ground there itself is something that Toowoomba Rugby League should be proud of, so it is a good ground.
So with the preparation for the ground, did they do anything different because it is an NRL game, or is it just the way it is all the time?
No, in the off-season they put a new field down.
Yep.
And so when we had the grand final there last year, they've spent a lot of time and money and effort renewing the ground. They put a whole new surface down through there. They put a new sprinkler system throughout it. So the field's going really well, and they've got a full-time person up there looking after it now. So it's a real showpiece now for Toowoomba, but particularly for rugby league.
It is, definitely, and hopefully we can get out and support this game on the weekend and have regular NRL games here in the future.
That'd be fantastic if that could happen. So there's still tickets available, Paul?
Yeah, still tickets available, but I'd implore you to get in and get them early. Otherwise, they've sold 1,000 overnight. So if that continues up till the game, they will probably sell out before Sunday. So I'd suggest everyone go and grab your tickets online, Ticketek or on NRL tickets, and you'll be able to purchase a ticket to an historic match. And look, there's an old Toowoomba player come through the Clydesdales system before we were called the Mustangs. You would have all known him, and he's the $1 million man for the Titans, Ash Taylor. How good would it be if you were in your NRL career, Murph, and you're able to come back and play an NRL fixture match on one of your home grounds at Clyde Berghofer?
Definitely, it'd be awesome. When I played, I got to Brisbane, but I never got to come back to Toowoomba, and no player from Toowoomba that's played NRL has ever got to play an NRL game here. So I think it's a great occasion for Ash and his family and the people of Toowoomba as well to get up there. And I'm looking forward to going up with my family, just walking to an NRL game from my house this weekend. So something that I never thought I'd ever be able to do.
And hopefully it starts a new tradition, and as you said, it's an annual thing. That would be the big thing.
Yeah, and that's what we need as Toowoomba to support it. But look, Titans they went along particularly well in the first game. They came back from 18-0 down to beat the Raiders, and then over in New Zealand, it was a hard-fought contest, and it's a tough gig to any team to go over across the ditch and play the Warriors. And Warriors had a good win first up as well. So I think without Ash Taylor, do you feel he might have been the difference over there if he got to play?
Definitely, I think they missed him. They missed his kicking game, definitely. And I think with him in the game, they could have really pushed the Warriors on the weekend. So him coming back, it's a massive plus for the Titans this weekend. And for them to do well this season, they need Ash on the field.
Look, they're also going to welcome back a State of Origin front rower in Jared Wallace. He's come back. He's going to start on the bench, I believe. He's named on the bench, and he'll be looking forward to getting his first taste. He had a little bit of a suspension to serve. He served his suspension. He even missed out on the trial up here as well, and this will be his first one back. What do you think about that, Jeff? The coach is bringing him straight in on the bench, not making him come back through Intrust Super Cup.
I saw that on the news. That's fantastic. Obviously, the coach has got a lot of confidence in him and his fitness as well. So it's going to be a sensational game. Ash Taylor, of course, was responsible for the kick at the end of the game that won the game against Canberra, that resulted in that try. So yeah, it's going to be great. He'll be absolutely stoked playing in front of his family and friends.
Yeah, and all his friends and former blokes that he's played football with that he still keeps in contact, and ones that have probably gone by the way, but they'll all be able to get up there and see Ash Taylor. But on opposing him in the St George side, there is the fellow who pushed him out of the Broncos, Ben Hunt, who has since left, and now he's gone to St George, and he's had 2 real good games for the Dragons. So what a good matchup that's going to be, Ash Taylor and Ben Hunt.
Oh, great matchup, and it could be an Origin selection as well in itself, them two, that Queensland's looking for a new halfback, and those two will want to put their hands up for that spot as well, I think. So it'll be a great clash just seeing them two.
So what a great opportunity up there to watch the Titans and the Dragons play in our historic first match here in Toowoomba. And look, the Toowoomba Regional Council and Tourism Events Queensland done a great job helping us all bring this game here to Toowoomba, but particularly the Titans for wanting it to make sure that it did come to Toowoomba. There was a number of other regional centres that had their hand up for it, but the Titans, with their affiliation through the Western Mustangs, really pushed home to make sure that it was here in Toowoomba. So make sure you get up there and support the Titans on the weekend when they take on the St George Dragons.
Now, Justin, you went out to Valleys last weekend, and the Phillies were pretty good.
Yeah, they were good. It was a good game, a little bit tit for tat early on, but the crowd out there for this game in itself, it was amazing to see. Valleys packed at an early time. I think the 18s game, they've never had as many supporters for that game, which was the game before this game. But the girls, there's a lot of good talent there. I think definitely Steph Hancock was the difference. They had a bit more experience, but with a few things going their way, they could have turned the game, and our Phillies could have got up in this game as well.
Yeah, well, they had 4 players in the south side that have got either Australian or Queensland representative experience, and they came up here with just the bare side, but first time our fillies have played up in Division 1, and last time they did play against South Logan, they actually led them for a while, and they did this again in this game. But I think the experience, I was told, of Steph Hancock made the difference. But it's good to hear, Murph, that there was a really good crowd out there to watch the girls out at Valleys to see how they go.
It is. I think it's about time that they're getting that support too, because they had a good season last year playing for the Mustangs last year, and they had a good team there as well. But it's good that the support's getting out there for them now, and they are getting recognition as well.
And we had good support too up at the Oval for the trial match when the under-16 Mustang fillies played against the Caboolture Snakes. And now the Caboolture Snakes in their season last year, and the under-16 girls were undefeated, and the Toowoomba side every game they played they were undefeated, so it was a bit of a battle for the premier out of the two of them, and the girls were too strong. I think they ended up running our winners about 48-10, so they had a pretty good game that day. And your youngest sister had her very first game of rugby league, and she went quite well. Is she enjoying it?
Yeah, she did. She's really loving it, and it was her first game of rugby league, and Clive Berg offered to make a debut in front of a big crowd there, so she was really happy to play, and it's good as a brother. I'm proud to see her get out there and enjoy it, and it's something that rugby league, it's been in our family, and by default I think she's been a part of it, and now she's actually playing, so it's really good.
What position?
In the forward she's playing, so Russell Bowles coaching her, and she's in the forwards. I think Ned, my brother, he went out to help him at training last night, and hopefully during the year I'll get out and help him out a little bit as well.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
very proud.
Great. I think the skill level of the ladies, particularly the Division 1 fillies, but also the under-16 girls, the skill level in the women has really come along from what you'd expect it to be to what it is now. They're really showcasing some good rugby league out there, and when you've got someone like Volley looking after the under-16 girls, no wonder their numbers are increasing and they're playing good football. Absolutely.
Now they travel away this weekend, playing East at Langlands Park in Division 1, and they're playing Winner Manly at Winner Manly Leagues Club in Division 2. So how do you reckon they'll go?
I think East are pretty good. They've got 4 Jillaroos in the side. And remember this year the NRL ladies competition is the first year it's going to take place. So these ladies in all the games are all pushing for an opportunity to get an NRL contract. And I think with the East, with the 4 Jillaroos, a home game for them, the girls having to travel down there, it's going to be a big gig for them. But I think everyone would have expected Souths to come up here, their first game in Div 1 and roll them, and they got a bit of a fright, and it was only just right at the end. So I think they'll go pretty good against East, and I think it'll be a tough gig.
Yeah, I know. I think the time slot's 6:30. They're not quite used to playing at that time, I think, so that'll be something different for them. But
it's in the PM, I hope.
Yeah, PM. So definitely, I'm not sure if it's before a Queensland Cup game or not. But Brisbane East, it's a good ground down there to go and play as well. So.
And I know in past years in the Div 2, the girls, when they've played against Wynnum, it's always been a pretty tough gig, and the girls have got away with it and been a lot fitter than the Wynnum side, and they've put a lot of points on in the second half. So, but a number of those players that would have played in those sides have now stepped up into the Phillies Div 1 side. So it'll depend on how it goes. They won on forfeit last week, the girls in the Div 2. So hopefully they'll get a game this weekend against Wynnum, and it should be a good match.
They'll be injury free then, which is good.
Yes.
It'll be good to see 2 female teams playing this weekend, I think, for the first time in the different divisions. It'll be really good.
Absolutely.
And there's a little touch of NRL other than our NRL fixture during the week, Murph, with the 9 Footy Show. The big man himself was out there at Valleys at the under-9s, mate. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, he went out to Valleys under-9s and interviewed their players, and it's going to be aired on the Footy Show this week, so NRL Footy Show on Channel 9, so I think that's a whole lot for those young boys out there, and there'll be some pretty typical funny answers from those kids. But it's great to see them getting a bit of recognition and rugby league players from this region again.
Did you go up to the big man and tell him about your experience and the TRL Footy Show? And
well, Murph was actually there dressed as one of the under-9 Valleys rugby league players, but the beard sort of give it away.
I tried to fit in. I should have shaved. I've got a few too many greys coming through.
I think the beard and the tattoo give it away. But look, how good's that for the young fellas? It's a much-watched segment on the 9 Footy Show, and for them to be up here this time and showcasing one of our Toowoomba clubs, fantastic for the young fellas, and they'll all be watching the Footy Show to make sure they get to see themselves on TV.
Absolutely.
you never know, it might inspire someone to go on and be the next Ashley Taylor too. So.
Absolutely. All right, before the break, let's watch an interview with Wally Lewis at the Men of League Golf Day. This is the TRL Footy Show for Art by Leonardo's on Power TV Australia.
It's Terry Cook here for TRL Media, and I'm here with my great friend Wally Lewis, royalty of rugby league. How are you, Gator?
Very good, Cookie, very good.
And what brings you to Toowoomba on this great fine day today?
Mate, playing golf anywhere, anytime is one of the real necessities in life, and to have the opportunity to come up here and catch up with a couple of great mates from the old Valleys Rugby League Club in Brisbane was an opportunity I couldn't miss. And of course, Peter O'Callaghan's a great mate of mine. I was in a hotel here in Toowoomba, the Federal, for a long time, and I think he touched me up in the sharing the profits around. But it was always good to come up here and have a drink with him.
It's always meant to go round, Gator. You know that. So I'm sure you've still got your first pocket money that Jim gave you a long time ago, have you?
First pocket money. I don't think we ever got pocket money in those days. We just got we got a little bit of a pat on the back when we went to the exhibition, and we probably got 2 shillings to go around and jump on all of the rides. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of pocket money in those days.
So you're a milkman stealer.
I knocked off a few things in my time, yeah. Milk, probably got into that as well, but I always used to make sure that when Dad had a big night on the drink, that was when you could raid the fridge. He didn't have a real good recollection of exactly what was in there.
That's great stuff, mate. Tell us, we're here with Men of League, which is a great charity. A good turnout here today at Toowoomba. And how did you hit them today?
Yeah, it went okay actually. The first couple of holes I was a bit wobbly, but finished pretty well. Yeah, so I'm not happy all that often on a golf course, but this one was pretty good. And of course, when you're playing with blokes like Peter O'Callaghan, and we're talking about the old Valleys days, you know, it's one of those occasions where you really don't care about how you score on the golf course. You're just you know, enjoying going down, taking a trip down memory lane once again.
That's it, the once upon a time, and the comradeship that rugby league brings is fantastic, and it still exists today, which is great, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. And when you take a club like Valleys, I mean, they rolled over a long time ago and didn't get the chance to continue their fame and fortune. But the players that played there loved the opportunity. I'm often asked what was my favourite club of all time, and it was Valleys. It was a great place to be. I was just a kid when I joined it. I was playing under 13s. Got the chance to go into first grade in 1978. It was, and I only left Valleys because the president was honest. He came forward, Dr. Tom Dooley, and he said, "Mate, we're broke, we've got no money, we're not going to be able to pay you." So I headed off to a different club and thought everything was going to be okay there. We didn't get paid there, so it was a little bit different. But my time at Valleys was fantastic, and we still meet every year. The old boys, they get together, and it's one of those moments that you mark in the calendar, do not miss.
That's it, mate. And tell me, I've always wanted to know this since I've played with you in your Seagulls days and all that. Who was the greatest player that you've ever played with and against?
Guys I played, I'm often asked that question, and it's pretty easy to get an answer when I go to 4 guys. I can't get it down to one. It's absolutely impossible. But the best blokes I've played against or alongside were Peter Sterling. He was a pain in the arse to play against because you knew that he just kept working away, kept looking for weak areas, scheming. He was a real thrill. The best 5'8" I played against was Brett Kenny first, Daylight second. And I don't mean to be insulting to all the other 5'8s. They were wonderful. But Brett he was just brilliant. He had wonderful speed. And he used to have this ridiculous mood on the field. He'd be pulling faces. Sometimes the shorts got pulled aside in the middle of a State of Origin match, you know, and he's dropping the flutes around. It was a bit different. And then I had the chance to play alongside Gene Miles and Mal Meninga, and play against Mal as well. And 4 blokes like that, Peter Sterling, Brett Kenny, Gene Miles and Mal Meninga, they don't get much better. And to have the thrill of playing alongside you, and I probably got plenty of raps when they deserved them. Having that sort of talent around you kind of makes you play a little bit better.
Yes, and just one more question before we wrap this up so you can get back to having lunch and that. In your day, you scored a try at the SCG and you dummied about 4 or 5 times to wrap up the series for Queensland in another thriller. Tell me, who were you dummying to?
I'm not really sure. I've got no idea. I was running along throwing it. I think it was just fresh air that I was throwing the dummy to, but it worked. How dumb were the blokes I was in front of? They swallowed it, but I got there, and I often used to say when they were picking the best New South Wales team, that certainly couldn't have been it, because if I could outpace a couple of blokes, they were doing it tough. I was the slowest 5'8" in history, yet I still managed to get there. And all of the blokes used to say straight at the end of the game, mate, they felt sorry for you. If they swallowed a dummy off you, they weren't real good at all.
Thanks for your time today, Gator, and it's been a pleasure. And truly, you are rugby league royalty here, and TRL certainly appreciates your time and effort here today. Thank you.
Thanks, Cookie. I was just lucky, mate. I was privileged to play the game of rugby league, the greatest game of all.
Beautiful, mate. Thanks.
On Power TV Australia, we take a frank look at computers, the internet and social media with a team of experts from around the world with Switched On IT. Learn what makes the internet tick and how to keep your kids safe online. Discover a whole new world of entertainment at www.powertvaustralia.com or download the app from the Google Play Store.
Hi, this is Mick Jagger on
Classic Vinyl.
This is Debbie Harrow from Blondie.
This is Jimmy Barnes here.
Stevie Nicks from Fleetwood Mac.
This is Reverend Willie G from ZZ Top.
The best tracks from the greatest albums of our generation.
That's right.
From your breakfast and coffee to your drive home.
We've got the classic hits that make your workday
When you got a job to do, go by a lot faster.
If we haven't said it lately, thanks for listening. The home of classic rock.
Don't touch the dial.
PowerFMradio.com.au.
Playing indoor netball, cricket, soccer, dodgeball and volleyball is a great way to keep fit and catch up with friends, and the place to go and play any or all of these sports is Action Indoor Sports. There are competitions for juniors and adults of all levels of ability, from beginners to the most experienced. Action Indoor Sports is home to Inflatable World, an inflatable theme park for all ages, and new and coming soon, indoor softball. Go and see for yourself. Action Indoor Sports is located at 31 Spencer Street, Toowoomba. Check out the website ToowoombaIndoorSports.com or phone 46359999.
Whether you're a professional musician, a weekend warrior, or just starting out, you need to talk to the experts at Royce Music. With over 35 years' experience, Royce, Toowoomba's oldest music store, specialise in guitars, drums, and sound equipment, and can even repair and maintain your equipment. Call them today on 46327-377, drop into their showroom at 17 Bowen Street, or find them on Facebook. Royce Music, selling Toowoomba's finest musical instruments.
And welcome back to the TRL Footy Show by Art by Leonardo's here on Power TV Australia. And Paul Reedy, of course, our guest host with us today. Paul, let's get on to round 2 of the TRL.
Yeah, what a fantastic opportunity this is going to be. Friday night, we're going to have Brothers versus South. I think this is fantastic. We need more Friday night football in the Toowoomba Rugby League, particularly if it's an in-town club, I suppose. Gives everyone an opportunity. I'm going to try and get out to Brothers Glenholme Park Friday night and watch it. They're going to play the reserve grade and the 18s at the same time. There are 3 ovals out there, so they're going to play at the same time, and that way straight into the A grade at around about 6:30. So it's a good early Friday night opportunity to get out there and have a look. And look, both these clubs, mate, well known through the start of the pre-season that they're both struggling for depth in their players. They're both in a bit of a rebuilding, and to have 2 teams in town both needing to rebuild at the same time. But here's an opportunity. One of them's going to get 2 points.
I think it's a great opportunity for Friday night. I think it's a great initiative to play that game as well.
Yeah,
and if you are
absolutely.
struggling for numbers, maybe that might be a way to entice players to play if you play those games.
It's also good for South in a way because their home ground this year is Glenholme Park. So South supporters will get out there the same as Brothers will, and they should get a pretty good crowd, I reckon.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good crowd. My last game of rugby league was for South against Brothers in the grand final in 2012 in Toowoomba. So
okay.
That's a fair while ago now, but these 2 teams in similar positions, but
So who are you going to go with Friday night, Murph? Who do you reckon is going to win, Brothers or South?
I'm going to say South will bounce back from their defeat on the weekend, and they've had a game together now, which was sort of their trial game to blow the cobwebs out. I think that they might get up, but it'll be a very close game here, I recken.
Yep, Robbo, you'd be going with the Tigers for sure,
absolutely, yeah. I'm not going to
you'll be sticking with them? No, good on you, mate. That's how it should be.
Yep.
I think Brothers are going to get them, and only because I know a number of the players that played for Souths are coming back to the Mustangs this weekend, and they'll be playing Sunday afternoon. So Souths are going to miss a couple of those very good quality footballers. So I'm going to go with Brothers. I thought they played better than I expected against Oakey, who I thought would put a fair few points on them, because I like Oakey's side this year. So I'm going to go with Brothers. But remember, Friday night, Glenholme Park, make sure you get out there, support. Doesn't matter if you support either club, get out there and support some rugby league and enjoy a little bit of Friday night footy. It might mean other teams will take what they see with the crowd and take the opportunity to put some Friday night footy on. It'll also help with the referee, won't it?
Yeah, a lot of tries too, I think, will be scored.
Yeah, the Beatros boys from Brothers, I think they
Mitch and Sam,
they're good to watch, and they're good clubmen as well, so they're good to get out there and watch them.
And I think this will help with the refereeing, because we're talking about numbers being a little bit down in refereeing, and you've seen it first hand out at Valleys, a young linesman, only 15 or so years of age, getting abused by fans in an under-18 match, and that's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think match officials should get any abuse. They do a hard job, and without match officials we wouldn't have a game of rugby league, no matter what age. And if they make a wrong call, so be it. Get on with the game. Leave them alone, I reckon.
Our next match, though, it's at Platts Oval. It's going to be the Obie and Cookie Call, and you'll hear it live and free on Power FM. And that's Wattles Warriors versus the Gatton Hawks. First time we're going to see Gatton this year. They got a bye first up, so they get to start their season a little bit later. Always show up with a big forward pack, particularly the likes of Dennis Burgoyne and Swanee and Dom Hawke and all that. So I think Gatton will be itching to get out and get a hold of Wattles. Wattles with their first up win. It's going to be a pretty tough contest this, and that's why it's the call of the day.
Definitely, and Luke Nolan's come over to Gatton this year as well, and I've heard a little whisper that Hayden Litt might be playing, so I'm not too sure about that though, but I've heard a whisper that he could be playing for Gatton as well.
He's had a bit of Q Cup experience with the Sunny Coast. He come through the Clydesdales or the Mustangs, and he was one of our standout under-20s. So if he fronts up for Gatton, it might give him the edge over Wattles, although, as you said, those halves, being able to play both sides this year with Travis and Matty Duggan, and of course Jackson going to be able to run through. So who do you think?
There's a bit of history between these two teams as well, from a few grand finals, I think. But I think that Wattles, just with the class of Matty and Travis, I think that can lead him to victory in this game as well.
What about you, Jeff?
I think Wattles purely because it's at Platts Oval. If it was at Gatton, I'd probably go the other way.
Okay, it looks like we're all on Wattles. I'm going to go with Wattles. I think the fact that they've already had a game this season, and it's Gatton's first game, I think Wattles will be built some combinations and they'll be ready to go. So we're all on Wattles this week, and that'll be the Obie and Cookie Call live and free on Power FM. The next game, the Roosters, the Valleys Roosters, big winners in the first round, 62-0. And Oakey back on the winners board after a couple of years of finding it a little bit tough. This is going to be a pretty good game too, and it's out at Valleys, so it's a pretty tough area to go to, and there's a little bit of rivalry with these two as well, with Valleys and Oakey over the years.
Definitely, and there's a few players that have played for both clubs at the changed clubs recently as well, so adds to the rivalry as well. But Oakey will be on a massive high at the moment coming into it, and Tommy Friend will have them pumped up for this game again too. But I think Valleys, they've got a few good young guys that have come back there this year, and I just think that they'll be getting a bit too classy. They will get up in this game.
I think you're right. Tommy can rev up a mannequin, mate. He could get into a boxing ring, I reckon. He'll be putting it right into Oakey this weekend, and he'll be making sure that they're ready for Valleys. He'll be trying to analyse it. He's a little bit of a coach of old. He's more about let's get out and fire up and match them up first, and then we'll worry about what we're doing afterwards. Valleys, though, they showed a lot of their class. They've got some really good footballers come back to them this year with their back row, particularly Murph. It looks pretty potent.
Yeah, definitely. Nolan Budden and Huey Segger and Jason Sharp. That's a good back row, I think.
And they play a lot of minutes for you too, which is important in the back row.
And those three, they've grown up playing together throughout the juniors as well. So to come up playing the juniors and up into first grade with Jared Dodd and a few other guys there. It gives them those combinations that they've had since they were kids. So.
I like the Valley's hooker, Nathan Bowring.
Nathan Bowring, he's a real good
player. He played really good for us in the 20s a couple of years ago, and he's a Valley's junior, and he's nothing prouder than wearing the A-grade number 9 for the Roosters. So he'll be hard around that ruck. I think he might find a few of the forwards if they do start to tire. He might exploit that a little bit. And who are you going to go, Robbo?
I'm going to go with Valleys, but I think they've got to sort of not just say, okay, we're going to turn up and win. They've got to play the whole 80 minutes to win it. But I think Valleys will.
Murph, sticking with the Roosters, mate.
Sticking with Valleys this week, yeah.
Good on you. I'm going to go with Valleys too. I think they'll prove a little bit strong for Oakey, but I think it'll be a bit closer than it would have been in years gone by. Next game, how good is this game going to be? Pittsworth and Highfields out at the Danes' hometown of Pittsworth. This is going to be a really tough match. Murph, who are you going to go here, and who do you think will be the standout?
I think, like you said, it's going to be another tough game, this one. Supporters will be in for a treat with this game, but I think Pittsworth on a Saturday night out at Pittsworth, I'll come back against them. They're too hard to beat.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're going to be pretty tough. I'm actually going to go with Highfields. I did pick them last week. They got beaten by Warwick. They let me down a little bit, but I do like the Warwick side. I like Phil Economides as well. Gus will have done a lot of work with the boys during the week. He's a master at being able to get a side that suffered a defeat to be able to get them to realise where their errors were. Individually as well as a team, he'll be working with the boys. I think Highfields, with that young forward pack, they'll be keen on a Saturday night to get out there, and I reckon they might be a little bit too good for Pittsworth. Robbo?
I agree. I tipped Highfields to win the comp last week, remember? So I can't not back them.
This could be the kiss of death, Murph. He's tipped South, he tipped Highfields. Did you tip any winners last week?
Yeah, I did. I'm not sure which ones, but I did. Because I got some points, yeah.
So you're going with Highfields?
I absolutely.
And who do you think will be the standout there for him?
I don't know.
Jared Lee, I think.
I'll go for Toddy White for Pittsworth again to be a standout in that game.
Well, he played really well last week, and I see he made the TRL Team of the Week for Pittsworth for his efforts last week when they unfortunately just got beaten, but good effort there from Toddy White. So I'm going with Highfields, Murph's going with Pittsworth, Robbo's going with Highfields. So hopefully we'll see another great game of rugby league for the TRL again this weekend. And the next game, well, this is going to be too hard to pick, Dalby and Warwick. At Dalby though, so that does make a difference. Both had a hard-fought win last week. They didn't get it, only both of them winning by 2 points. And the replay of the grand final, Dalby, where they were very dominant in the grand final, won by a number of, a big margin actually, really, and then to come out against Pittsworth. And they've got a good side, Dalby. They'll be well coached and well drilled. Warwick, though, with Phil Economides and a few of those old head forwards, it's going to be a good game at Dalby. And I reckon it's going to be a massive, massive crowd. Well, it will be first time they're playing, the current premiers playing at home for this year, so I think it'll be a massive crowd there. And Dalby will come out and want to show their home crowd how good they are too, and that they're deserving premiers from last year as well, I think. So have you been out to Dalby, played out there with a crowd against you? Is it daunting? It is daunting. They've got a tremendous setup out at Dalby. The ground's in great condition always out there, and the Lees club's right there on the ground as well. So yeah, it is. And they've all got a home crowd advantage when you're there, but you know, two of them that particularly stand out is Dalby and Gatton. When you play at Gatton, and I hated playing at Gatton and Dalby as well. It was always hard going. I'm sure if you're playing for Gatton, you'd love playing there. But when you're the visiting team and the can bars there and your dressing shed, you've got to walk through the crowd of the can bar to get to the field on and off. So you see them giving them the A graders a bit of a razzle down there. They're pretty vocal, both of them. Having a leagues club there brings a lot of support. So Dalby and Warwick. Now's crunch time. Who are you going to go, Murph? I'm going to go Dalby at home. Dalby at home because of the home ground? Same. Robbo? Same. Looks like we're all on Dalby. I'm going to go Dalby as well, but I think it could go right down to the wire, and I'm tipping the hooker, Danny Wassell. He'll be the difference in that game for the Dalby Devils. No, Dalby Diehards, aren't they? Yep, absolutely. Yeah, the Devils are the junior side, so the Dalby Diehards. Tipping Jason Woodrup to continue his try-scoring streak too. 3 last week. I think he'll get another double this week at least. So just talking about tipping there, Robbo, last week, we've got a tipping contest. It's on the TRL website, and of course we tip the A grade and the under 18s. I put my tips in this week, and I just noticed before Murph was showing me, and he just said leading the tipping after round 1 is myself on 9. Yep. On 8 is Lenny Curry, Cookie, and then we've got, who we got?
Cherry.
Nev Cherry. They're 8 points behind. Then we have Obi on 7. And then we have, anyway, you're down with the also ran. So you put the kiss of death on a number of sides last week. So if Robbo's on, you might be better sending $10 in the mail asking him not to tip your side for next weekend.
That'll be greatly accepted too, I tell you. That's okay, someone's got to hold up the ladder.
Do you know what you should start doing? As soon as you go for South, tip every team that play them, and then if South win, you'll be happy, and if they don't win, you'll still be...
I used to do that with Balmain and the
Reverse
West Tigers.
psychology. It might be a bit tough for him, mate. He's already put the kiss of death on enough of them. But send your $10 in an envelope to Power FM for Robbo not to be picking your side next week.
Absolutely. Well, it's only round one, isn't it? I mean, everyone will start sorting
So you should have a lot of money by the end of the year.
Oh, well, it'll be my shout then, won't it? All right, we'll take a break. Up next, it's Reedy's Rant.
Yeah,
that's
something
a new
different.
one. Yeah. This is the TRL Footy Show live from the Toowoomba Sports Club on Power TV Australia.
Hi, I'm Neil from CGD Group, and we do printing with imagination. Our products and imaging have that wow factor. Whether it be business cards, flyers, the Coffee Gazette, or our brand new A5 video folders and animation. Have your business branding remembered. Call us today on 4639 5553. CGD Group, printing with imagination.
Whether you're a professional musician, a weekend warrior, or just starting out, you need to talk to the experts at Royce Music. With over 35 years experience, Royce, Toowoomba's oldest music store, specialise in guitars, drums and sound equipment, and can even repair and maintain your equipment. Call them today on 46327377, drop into their showroom at 17 Bowen Street, or find them on Facebook. Royce Music, selling Toowoomba's finest musical instruments.
Well, welcome along to My Music. I'm Jeff Black. Let me tell you about the T-Bird Diner. Well, just over here, we've got a Ford custom line that's crashed through the wall. Next episode on My Music on Power TV Australia. I'll see you then.
And welcome back to the TRL Footy Show, live and free on Power TV. It's time now for Reedy's Rant.
Yeah, that's right, something a little bit different. It's normally Obi getting on his high horse, but this time it's my turn. And this week I'm really disappointed about the punishment some of the NRL people are talking about handing out. We had a terrible case during the week, last weekend, where Greg Inglis was racially discriminated against. No part of that in our game. No. Doesn't need to be around. And the NRL have come out straight away, swift-handed, and they said they're going to find who the offender is, and they're going to give him a lifetime ban from rugby league. Hooray to you, I agree with that, I reckon that's right. But then we send a message that if you've been charged with assault, you've been charged with drugs, you've been charged with other things that are criminal offences as well, it's all right, we'll let you back into the game, and I'm not opposed to being back into the game, but we say we're going to get plenty of counselling for them, we're going to help them come back, and we're going to let NRL guide them and give them an opportunity back in life, and I reckon that's great. But we're not offering that to the person who did the racial slur. We're not offering him counselling. It's straight away he's out of the game for good, but we don't do the same thing for the NRL players. I think it's uneven. We're not sending a good message to our kids that you can do assault, you can get into trouble, you can get done for drink driving, all of them bad crimes, but we will give you counselling for those. But for the discrimination, no, you're gone. I think they need to have a little bit of a hard look at themselves in the NRL. Murph, you got anything on that?
Definitely. I think players, they're pretty lucky. They do get second chances. Some of them had third. Some of them even had more than that. So for them to get all these chances and still get to do what they love to do and young kids to follow them, I think they've really got to readjust and rethink what they're going to do in that way of things.
It's also uneven within the players themselves. I mean, Todd Carney's got to jump through a lot more hoops than the Matt Lodge as such. We've all seen and heard what Matt did, and we've seen what Todd's done as well. But I think it's got to be an even playing field for that as well. But I totally 100% agree with you about offering counselling it's just someone's ignorance really that happened before, and surely, okay, if he's made that mistake and he's repenting, maybe there could be some cause of letting him back in as well.
So we're all for the second chances in the NRL, and especially if it gets them on the right track and gives them an opportunity to be a better person and a better NRL player and contribute back to this great game. But when the crowd does it, they need an opportunity to have a second chance as well to the NRL. Anyway, that's Reedy's rant. That's it for this week. Obi will be back next week for the rant, so we'll see what gets him on his high horse. Any other topics? What else? What about referees? We talked about it a little bit earlier. I briefly mentioned about a young fella getting abused out at one of the games this weekend. We need the referees in the game.
Definitely, and I know Toowoomba are calling out for referees at the moment. We need to encourage the referees, encourage young kids that are doing it, and give them the support. They're not going to make decisions correct every time they do it, but they are out there doing it. We need them to play our game, and I think give them as much support as we can and encourage them.
They're not professional. They're not professionally paid referees. They're out there doing their best for our game. They need an opportunity. I know in the heat of the moment when I had a few runs around that you might say something to them that wasn't right, but understand that if we don't have the referees, we're not going to have a game, and then we will have some problems. So encourage people, and older people. You might want to get back into the game and you don't want to play. What a great way to get back involved in rugby league and become a referee.
I think clubs can educate their players and the people around their clubs as well to get out and support their club in a right manner without bringing the referee into it as well.
A couple of years ago in the Clydesdales, under-20s, we had the worst penalty count of any club, and we got Peter Tozer and a couple of them out to talk to the boys and help them there at training and work through and got them to understand, getting up the referee, and that wasn't going to help. It didn't change, never changed a decision once. And once we started understanding that, and they were just making the decision, some were right, some were wrong, some started going our way, and then all of a sudden we weren't getting penalised as much, and we had a better opportunity. So, look, great opportunity, get involved in rugby league in another way. If you don't want to play, or through administration, become a referee.
Definitely.
All right, well that just about wraps up our show for another week. Thank you to Paul Reedy for stepping in and chairing it for us.
Thank you.
And Murph, as usual, it's great to talk to you about Ivan Cleary and how the Tigers are going, mate. I really appreciate it.
Could be two Clearys at the Tigers in a couple of years.
Wouldn't that be magic? Absolute magic.
He's got a younger brother actually too, so he might already be signed by the Tigers.
Well, if they're smart, they will have. And they would have tied up Ivan for a while as well, I hope.
Yeah.
3
I hope
years
they don't pick him in New South Wales this year, Ivan. Nathan, I think. He's a real halfback of the future, isn't he?
Geez, he looks exactly like his father too.
Doesn't he? Yeah.
That's scary.
Kicks as well as his dad too, which is good.
Yeah.
All right, thanks to our major sponsors, Art by Leonardo's in the Homemaker Centre, Prescott Street, and Power FM, and also a thanks to Royce Music. This has been a production of Power TV Australia in conjunction with Power FM. I'm Robbo. Thanks for your company, and we'll catch you next week here on the TRL Footy Show.